we are going to have our dreams night. Now, technically, it's not night, but we're going to have a dreams night, Mother's Day edition. We don't need one day a year to celebrate Mother's Day. And they are so amazing to have just not given birth to us, but brought us up into this world as respectable human beings. So that's why I wanted to have this session as a dedication to all mothers, right? Now we've got 3 super moms here who are going to share with you their amazing stories. I kind of know all of them personally, and I would say that their stories are really amazing. It will, well, one thing I can guarantee you that it's going to be very, very inspiring. Okay, before we start, I just want to let you know what's going to happen next. We're going to be having this introduction session, 3 o'clock, so we just started. We're going to do a bit of intro on what's going to happen and so forth. And then 3 this COVID-19 times, so business is still as usual, with a little bit of downtime, but still we are surviving. I'm also a motivational speaker. I've spoken in a number of platforms, and licensed NLP practitioner. I'm a grassroots leader, and I founded this Mr. Dream Big initiative. Basically, we want to reach out to more and more people, so we started this group. We aim to inspire everyone around us to dream big. Now, for those who know me, I think you would have known my story, but for those who don't know, I was a very, very troubled youth at risk. I did all the nonsense thing. I wasted my youth, basically because I didn't have a dream. And that's how this motivation started for me. So now I speak to a lot of teenagers and make sure they don't waste their youth just like how I did. Let's move to Agnes. Agnes, the platform is all yours.
Thank you, Steve, and also Vignesh for sharing your story. And I can relate to all the things that you have mentioned, and I would like to also acknowledge you being a very strong mother, and of course you've gone through a lot. And I would like to first of all thank Steve and also the Dream Big team for having me here, and also some of my friends for coming over to watch, like Frederick, Sally, Tita, and of course Linda. And I think some of you are also logged in. I can't check you. So thank you for having me, because the first time I met Steve was in 2015, and I was a guest. And together with my kids, I always seem to involve my kids everywhere I go. Also was in the Dream Big to create our goals. And this time it's really an honor for me to be invited to be a speaker. So actually, I would say my dream has come true after 5 years. So let me change the slide. Okay, so a brief background. I actually come from a business background with 28 years in business experience, and I'm a working mother from the age of 21 until I was 23 until about now I'm going to be 52 this coming July. So all my life I've been working in multiple countries as well. So I would say that having 2 kids growing up was a challenge. However, I had some help, full-time maid. And with that, I actually try to make up for the time that was lost, especially when I'm traveling. And I want to make sure things are done. So with this COVID-19 I'm also mostly home. Of course, I'm working from my room. And this has actually helped me as well to spend more time with them, especially during evenings when we are doing our daily reading of our Bible. Okay, I'm a single mom as well, and this is their father. And we have been divorced since 2013. And during that time, this is the 2012, that was the year before we got divorced. The dad only come to see them maybe 2 or 3 times a year. I allow them to see him because he is a very sweet guy. It's just the circumstances that we did not able to continue our marriage. I never blame him in a way to stop him from seeing the kids. Okay, and we treat each other like I would say good friends and brothers and sisters. And he called me, like a ate, which is elder sister, something like a Filipino style. Okay, so my daughter and my son love their dad very, very much, and you can see they have grown so big and so tall. So this picture was selected by Angelina Hi, Angelina. She's also in this call. And my son, Michelangelo. So I call them my two angels. I'll be sharing to you today. I prepared this topic after Steve invited me. And I was like going through, what should I say? So after that, I found this title, which is called Breakthrough Parenting. And thanks, Steve, because it really puts me in a perspective of where I am now and why it is so different from where my parents brought me. I'm not blaming my parents, but basically, I have reached a stage where I need to recognize it is my responsibility. So I like to put this together as a message for all future parents, and of course, the children and also parents, if you are facing the situation, which is to break the generational chain, because it is actually affected a lot of people's upbringing, and I recognize that. So I want to share with you that I did some research. It's only after I've done this document together that I realized I need to put some experts' advice. It is actually proven that when we grow up in the past 10, 20 years, we actually are already develop in our neural pathways and neuroscience that we become like our parents because we are brought up in that environment. So our brain will be wired, and I tend to recognize that I become like my mother when I start to nag and I start to raise my voice. Is when I'm stressed and I can't think properly. I just go back in that style of parenting. So I want to share with you that this is the whole context of my session today. What I've heard when I was a child, my childhood experience was related to me by my mom, my auntie, my grandmother, and the people that were there, and based on my own past experience, the voice that tells me what I want or what I don't want to do. And it actually shaped my parenting mindset. So I'll be sharing with you the differences between my mindset, which is my what I've heard when I was young, that shaped my mindset. I don't want to call it my parents' mindset because I can't think like them, but I can hear what they say that affects me. So I don't want to put the whole entire slides like I'm blaming my parents. Okay, so and it actually shaped me how I determine my children's experiences. So I hope with this context, you can see the color changes as we go along so that you can follow the whole presentation. Okay, a little background about my childhood experience. I used to have to follow my mom to church on Sundays once a month to pick up free rice. So we always get excited. We would go somewhere else to another church and pick up a bag of rice or a few cans of goods. Then as we go along, we will come back and we found that we are actually collecting charity. And we were so poor that even when we got the rice, actually this picture, the rice looks nicer, okay? I can remember actually when I take the picture, this shows a lot of bugs. And this is what happened when we cook the rice. It actually has a lot of bugs and it doesn't taste very nice. Even our dogs doesn't want to eat. And this is my experience because we were facing poverty. We were in that generation, we don't really have much money. So what I do remember is that I always have bags of clothes handed to me, and we would go through the bags and to see which one can fit us. And we never have really new clothes, even for Chinese New Year as well, except for when we were a bit older, when we can afford. And then my mom is a daughter of 11 children, and every child will have a banana for dessert. And then my mom has 3 kids because my mom was separated from my dad. We, the 3 kids, my brother, my sister, and I live with my grandmother, and we were given 1 banana. So I always remember we have to share that 1 banana. So that actually dawned on me. I do not want to be poor, and I do not want to share my banana because I love bananas. So what happened right now is that, of course, I always buy lots of bananas at home and lots of fruits and always encourage my kids to eat them. So I grew up in a big compound where we are actually, my mother and my grandmother used to be caretakers and takes care of school. So I'm the middle daughter. my sister would go out and work as a waitress in one of the swimming club. And then my brother was too young to help out. So I'm the only child that would be helping. And I always find that my mom was unfair to my sister or my brother. So I always get the brunt of it. So at the end, actually, I became a very rebellious child. And I realized that I always complain because I always get to do all the work and nobody is actually helping. And because I complained so much, my mom would cane me until I bled. And I actually resented that fact that I get caned. So when I grew up, I also remember I'll never cane my kids, okay? So that was what I told myself. So what happened is that the question for you as well, if you were granted a wish, would you want to change your parents? Now, the good news is you cannot change your parents because no children have ever given up their parents' adoption successfully. But parents can actually give up their child for adoption. So that got me thinking as well. Will I ever give up my own kid because they are naughty? I would say I would never do that because I want to make sure that I take care of them so that they don't want to give me up for adoption. And I wouldn't want to change because right now, I would say I wouldn't want to change my parents or my situation because I wouldn't be who I am today if it wasn't what I was brought up to be. So this slide actually helps to sum up my whole story today, is that the past is an experience, the present is an experiment, the future is an expectation. So better use your experience in your experiment to meet your expectation. And this slide I also chose after I've decided on the word that I want to use. I can't change my past experiences, but I can determine how I want to nurture my children's experiences. And this actually what is the whole slides about today, okay? And I only recently found this Bill Gates when I was asked to present in one of the past seminar by Eugene Sia. So he asked me to share about my small beginning to a big enterprise. So basically, I shared and I found this topic, this slide very relevant. If you are born poor, it's not your mistakes. But if you die poor, it's your mistake. By Bill Gates. And it is true. I told myself I will not die poor and I will do whatever it takes to help to support and take care of my children. And that's what I said. I will not have children until I can afford to take care of them, even if I'm single. And this slide is also very important. You cannot change your destination overnight, Jim Rohn, but you can change your direction overnight. And it is true, this slide will have given me hope that even if today things are not working well, I can actually change my direction, okay? So that I can make it well. It is a deliberate choice. So for the past many years, when I was actually working in Malaysia, Penang, and also in MERS, I actually got the chance to do training for my companies. And actually I travel around Asia and Europe as well, and also Australia, New Zealand. I did many trainings, even for MERS and also DHL. And then I realized that I want to train in the way I like to be trained. Because when I had my first encounter with a trainer, I think it's a IT person who basically faces the computer all the time without looking at us. So I changed my mindset of training into what I think can interact with my audience, my trainees. So I decided that I want to train in the way I like to be trained. I can change the style. I don't have to follow the trainer. It's just like, because I was a trainer since 1996 and I became a parent only in 2004 and 2007. So I had the aha moment that I'm a trainer more years than I am a parent. So I can actually decide to change the way I want to raise my children and also help them to become a better adult. So I did some research and I found that this is very true. Children often than not are a reflection of their parents. How can you change your child's behavior? What are you doing to change your child's behavior? And this one is an answer. Kids are a reflection of their parents. Raise them how you would like to be raised next time. And this is what is affect me. And when I was blessed with 2 kids, a girl and a boy, and it is actually my dream come true since I was 23 years old. And from February 2007, when I had my second one, I actually bought this round thing that they are sleeping on, the play mat, and I took a picture of them, and I could see them 12 years ahead. That if I were to consistently take this picture for 12 years, I can see the difference. And I did that for 12 years. And I can see that they now have overgrown that little play mat. So my 2 kids' name is Angelina and Michelangelo, and I call them my angels that God has blessed me. So today, the 3 basic ideas that I practices with my 3 children, I call them my VIPs. I think you know what VIP stands for. Very important persons. And these slides have been arranged in such a way that you can identify and follow the milestones. The V stands for values. What are the values I have shared with them? And the identity that God has created for them. And what is the potential? So you will see it on the top right-hand corner later on every slides, that you know that we're talking about the values. Okay, so ready? We're going to go ahead. And thank you, Angelina and Michelangelo, because with them, I earned the title mother. And I want to wish all mothers, you are, God's chosen to be a mother to those children. And they are chosen because you are the right mother for them. And they are the right children for you as well. When I was young, I was told, my brother, my sister, myself are all picked up from the longkang, okay? And also the dustbin. That was where we were told when we were young. I guess they didn't want to say about the sex education, but we were told that you are actually found on the dustbin. That was why my grandmother, my auntie, everybody kept telling me that. So when we grew up, we were actually very fearful that we will be left at the longkang again or dustbin because we were naughty. So we were very obedient, but I was very disobedient because I get caned all the time. When I had my kids, I told myself that every child is a gift from God. They are pure, they are brilliant inside, and they are priceless. But they are even better than diamonds. You wouldn't put your diamonds anywhere, and you wouldn't throw it anywhere. But the best part is God has given them life. They have a heart. They have a heart buried inside the precious thing. Okay, they have life. They can even talk, and they are like my talking toy, and they can answer me back. Of course, I want them to say, "Mommy, I love you," and hug me. It's not to scold me back, yeah. But the point is that it is how I believe that from the very beginning, they are very precious to me. So when I was a baby, I was the second daughter. My mother used to tell me that my father didn't like me because I was the second daughter. And he also wanted to beat me, even though I was very young and naughty. So what happened is, my mother also said she has very small breasts and she has no milk. And because I'm a girl, I don't get powdered milk. Then guess what did I drink to grow up as a baby? I would have to answer you because this is all muted. I actually drank condensed milk. That was what my mom, my auntie, and my uncle also told me, that I was growing up with condensed milk. And I guess I didn't have a full potential to grow my bones, calcium, and all that. So that's why I was actually the shortest person in the whole class. Until today, everywhere I go, I'm always the shortest. But do you know that when I had my kids, I told myself, although I have small breasts, doesn't mean I cannot breastfeed my kids. I treat my daughter like a precious princess. I even dressed her up. maybe because I never get to dress up like a princess, and I compensate that as well. But what I did was I really determined to breastfeed her until such time that even when I actually expressed it could feed her for the entire month. And I couldn't even find enough containers and plastic bags, it ran out. It was out of stock most of the time. But I was so happy that my maid can actually continue feeding her while I was still working, and I was kept expressing. So I'm happy to say that my daughter, my son actually have a very pampered life. They have a lot of abundance. They have lots of toys, and most of it are actually bought and also given by friends. And one time I realized that I pamper them, even buying so many vehicles for them as well. So we were in a 5-room flat, and everything that we had, like decorate them, whatever that I didn't have, actually I bought it for me, not for them, I guess, because I'm always with them playing. So, and I'm very happy to say that, they grew up, they are very, I would say, happy, cheerful, and very entertained most of the time. However, as they grew up, all the toys get neglected. And then I realized that every time I buy them new toys, as they grow teenage, they don't play with it after 1 month. And at the end, my brother's kids, my nephews and my godchildren get the best part, okay? Even unopened presents. Sometimes they don't really need those toys. I realized that. So I told my kids that they actually are playing more on the Minecrafts, okay? So they don't really need the physical toys anymore. So I will not give them any more presents. So what I was told is, because I was rebellious, and my kids was also growing up to be I would say quite rebellious, because when I told them, please don't throw your toys around like that, or keep it neat, things like that. So my mom would say that I need to use the rod, otherwise you will be spoiled. So I kena the rotan a lot because of what they believe, spare the rods and spoil the child. But because they were inculcating the fear of, to be obedient, so that we can be obedient to them. When I told myself, okay, after I actually resist the idea of caning, but at a few times I break down as well, and I ask the kids, I think I should have used the cane. A lot of times I should have used, but I resisted. And sometimes I do have the cane standby, but it didn't work. It always slipped. I don't know why. But anyway, I never hit them at all. But when I did the research a few times, I realized, and I was reading the Bible, it actually says, he who spares the rod actually hates his sons, but he who loves him is careful to discipline him. So this is actually the meaning of authority, accountability, so that instead of just hitting them physically, I actually teach them, saying that if you did this, you know that I need to explain to you. It's actually to protect you, because some people might harm you, but you need to know that action is wrong. So I cannot trust other people, but I can trust you. So I empower them to understand that if there's somebody doing something wrong to them, you must remember to tell people. Don't keep it to yourself and don't hit back. Whereas the rod is actually, and the staff is actually, the kids are like little lamb. So instead of hitting them, what I do is I turn around the question and ask them about their actions, and then ask them, what are they responsible? I put on my trainer's mindset, asking questions, resisting the answer myself, but getting them to answer me by evaluating and reflecting. I know it's a bit of a challenge, but you can ask my kids, okay? I do ask them, why you do that? Things like that, so that they can trigger the reasoning of the consequences. And by the way, young kid is also called a kid. This is 2 kids, 1 human and 1 goat. And the goat is so cute. The kids are also very cute. They are very innocent. So we wouldn't want to hit them, because it actually pains, and because I have felt the pains before, and it really, really made me hate the action and also dislike the person, because it hardens my heart. I want to just summarize this for this slide, is that we need to show compassion to our kids when they are, let's say, not obedient. We must also show concern and also show our consistency when we set our boundaries. We must give them the accountability for their actions and arrange that they have the autonomy to decide. And then set the routines in office, in work. And just like office, we go to office, they go to school, come back, they do homework. Set the routines and set the boundaries clearly, explain and get them to feedback, not to just keep on nagging, but tell them what is your boundary, what is expected of you, what time are you supposed to do this and that. And then set expectations. Of course, I used to say I'm the boss in the office, but actually what we need to do is to lower our expectations, because we are no longer the boss at home. We need to pacify that attitude of being the boss in the house. We are not the boss. We are a parent. We are a loving mother or father. We need to keep peace and be patient. It is not easy. It is easier for me to train adults, honestly. But when I look at my kids, they have not reached that maturity. So I wouldn't blame them. So I would like to keep peace, because peacekeeping parents raise peacekeeping children. And one of the things that I realized is the past 2 years, I actually got into reading more of the good books, the Bible, and I found a lot of wisdom. So I set a routine. Every evening, we will read one chapter a night. And we started in mid-2017. And now we have already completed the New Testaments. We are at the Old Testament. We are almost finishing the Proverbs. And we are going to the prophet books. So with faith and wisdom, a family that prays together stays together. And I want the children to know that they have the promises of God, and the love and the discipline and the forgiveness of sins are all in the book, so that they can rely. So coming to this, the value is about finances. What I was told is money is the root of all evil. So when I was growing up, I found that even how much I earn, my money seems to go through the bucket. Okay, there's a lot of holes in the bucket, and I seem to lend people money, but I never get it back. And I seem to invest in certain things that never return anything investment. So money is not yours until you spend it. And that was what my friends have been telling me. So I can spend money for them. Okay. So this is my mentality. But when I had my children and I give them toys, I buy them things, they want this, they want, I give. Then I realized that as they are growing up, they don't need toys. But what I did was I want to train them in a financial foundation. So I started giving them allowances. And I told them 10% is for tithing. I didn't start tithing until I was 40, because I wasn't raised to tithe. I was only raised to give offerings. But when I start tithing, my entire 1 month tithe was accumulated for the whole entire 20, 30 years of my adulthood. So I was like feeling the pinch. At that time, I was going through a divorce, and also there was a huge debt to pay. But I did it anyway, and I believe God has continued to bless me. So I also started the insurance policy for my child, because I didn't have any insurance policy when I was a child. So when they were 0 age, I already started the insurance policy for both of them, and of course the father as well. And then I gave them money, and I told them to use the 5 jars and put into the savings into different jars. Okay, so I wanted to summarize this slide. Is about, it is not how much you have, but it's how much you can give. That is important. And I wanted to tell my children that you have money here doesn't mean that, oh, it's a lot. But because you need to be able to stock up for raining days as well. So one of the things that I embarked is when they were old enough to understand, I actually introduced them the financial advisor, Derek. He actually wrote my will as well and have a trustee on the children. And he's from AXA. Okay, and he wrote a few books already. And I also have Yuga Manulife. I met him during Vijaya's event, and he came to my house. I introduced to my kids, and I got one different time, of course, to sit down and explain to my children what I have invested for them and what they would get when they reach a certain age. And recently, about last year, I met Erwin from AIA, from my China Business Network. And he came to the house as well. And I reviewed all the past policies. By the way, these are not the original guys who actually supported us. There were a few other agents who have become managers. So they have reached a certain level and now they no longer have the time, but I have found a better service. So they actually meet up with my kids and explain to them. And we do a review every once a year. So at one time, there was a situation where I invested quite a lot on my daughter, my son, both of them to SCORE Campus, Coach Gabe program, and they love it so much. And then I realized that how come their results are not, and there seems to be playing a lot. So I asked them the question. So I decided that I should change the mentality of transferring cash, transferring money to the SCORE Campus account. I did was I actually changed $3,000 into $2 notes, brought it home and put it on the table and asked my kids to count. And then they have to count because each of them have different rates, like 1,750, another one is 1,500 plus. So they have to split. Then after that, they would have to carry the money all the way to SCORE Campus and hand over. So I actually took them to calculate the $2 notes and 11,000, actually in total for 1 year, it's about 11,000. This is just 1 quarter. And 11,000 divided by a month of 12 months, actually it can cover their normal school fees for at least 11 years. Okay, because in school in Singapore, it's only like $6.50 a month and all the allowances. So this is the part where we talk about family. Just to summarize, the family, values, faith, and finance, and their identity. They are God's gift. They should treasure it. No matter whether in future they see a girl-boy relationship, boy-girl relationship, if one of them, like my friend, unfortunately the son actually jumped himself to death because of a girl. And I told my daughter, my son, we don't want that to happen because they asked me where I'm going. I'm going to a funeral of a boy of a 21 or 23 years old. So I say it is not worth to jump just for a boy or a girl relationship. More important is that we need to treasure the life that God has given us. We go through all these challenges for a reason, so that we can live to our potential that God has designed for us. So for me, I learned to be humble, to let go of my pride. I actually have breakdowns before, many times. I nearly hit my kid. Instead, I threw the furniture instead, okay? And I broke my furniture. And I admit my mistakes and I ask my kids, how can I be a better mom that they want me to be? And they tell me, and I try that as well. So the next thing is the potential. The potential is for them, okay? So my daughter would come back primary 1, primary 2, primary 3. That time I was in the divorced and also going through to raise more money. I was working full-time. I was doing a part-time MLM business and I was earning more money at the end, just to cover the debts. So my daughter was always hitting 49. So one day I asked her, why are you keep hitting 49? What actually are you trying to aim? She said she want to hit 50. So I told her, I actually have studied MBA and I never got, actually when I was in school, I only got 1 A for English. But when I did my MBA, I hit 18 A's. And I told them the secret. I hope you guys want to know the secret. The secret is the school, okay, I actually created this methodology called the STAR methodology, which the university asked me to share. after I graduated, of course, and I put them together. And I told them the secret is every school, every university wants to give you 100% on a silver platter because it makes the school look good. So when you start school, by the way, you have 100%. All you need to do is to keep it. Then my daughter aimed for 80% and she hit 70. And good news, okay? The thing is, when I talked to her, I asked her question, and I explained to her the perspective of the 100% on a silver platter given to you first. You can change the results. And she did. She was actually the most improved student award at P4. That was when I started paying attention. And this is the memento that I gave her. I didn't give her any presents. I just put together some slides, put it on a picture frame, and then put her picture and my picture, and then I gave her this message: my beloved daughter, an answered prayer, my beautiful angel, my precious sweetheart. Congratulations on your P6 graduation. You are my pride and joy. And I love her very much. And I gave her a lot more chances, experiences instead of presents. And of course, when they were not given the presents, they were surprised during Christmas. I said, no more presents. We're not going to get presents. So I make them walk all the way because it's a public holiday, Christmas. We're not going to have Christmas presents. What I did was I gave them a walk to the Vivo City. They have to sweat it out. And then I gave them a surprise. I passed them $50 notes on the table, on their hand, and said, you have 2 hours and you can roam around anywhere. You can buy anything with this $50. And then my daughter, my maid, ran around and then go shopping and and they must be back by 2 hours. But my son, he held to my hand, and of course he got free lunch, and he also bought himself presents. So what I did was I told them I'm not going to give them presents which is not going to be used. It's going to collect dust. But what I did was create experiences. So give them a chance, make them choices. And recently we did go for fishing, and it's by Aaron Juan, and they have a very nice fish pond. Okay, you can link up with him later on. Aaron Juan, I hope you hear this. And my daughter gave me a surprise, and this was her message: dear mom, your most endearing quality today is your voice. Wow. For me, I was like thinking I'm a naggy person. Every day when I hear your voice, you remind me the most sweetest and caring angel in heaven. I'm glad that you are my mom as you are, like no other mom in my school, and you make me smile. I'm proud that you support me in everything I do. One way I think we can serve God and the community together is not going to fall asleep in church and pay attention to the pastor. I want to thank you for being my mom and taking good care of me and Mika. Thank you. Love, Angelina. Because I always nudge her when she falls asleep in church. So now she's actually much more paying attention, and she loves church as well. And this is the picture of my son when he reached P6. That was last year. Yeah. And I put together this picture to commemorate him and his awards. He actually painted this picture, the light and the light of and life, and it was sent to Hong Kong, and he has been chosen to participate as the youth as the leader in his school, and Excellence Award. Michelangelo Bautista, my beloved, congratulations on your Character Excellence Award, MOE EduSafe. He won every year for the past, I think, 3-4 years. My beloved son, a double blessing from God, my pride and joy. You are my hero, my role model to many, and I love you. Okay, so these are pictures of him making cookies for his teachers. And he also did some fishing. And one time he tore his pants. Instead of me asking my maid to sew for him, I asked him to take the needle and do his own sewing. He had his own experience as well. So every year, in the beginning of the year, I would tell my 2 kids to make a bucket list, 10 things they want to achieve in the beginning of the year, and they will evaluate throughout the year, what can they do? So in fact, in January, he said he wants to bake a cake, and his birthday is on February. So I decided that we wait until February. I will teach him how to bake a cake together. However, when the day comes, he chose this cake. I didn't even lay a hand on it. I just guide him, take pictures, and put together. If you want this recipe, you can use this. And he did his own decoration, even better than me. And he even did the cleanup. So he actually felt the process, and it actually helped him to achieve a sense of his own, making his own cake, his own bucket list. And of course, there's a few more things that he achieved that year. He checked out 6 out of 10. And I didn't give him any presents. I just wrote him a love letter for his birthday and buy him a little candy that he liked. So to summarize, I gave him choices and experiences and opportunities that he can use and enhance his potential. I want to summarize this. I am responsible for my children's experiences and growth. And I want them to achieve their fullest potential, not necessarily academic. In fact, academic-wise, my daughter, my son, I ask them if they have done their best, and I never penalize them for that. And I would like to share, maybe next time, STAR methodology, if those who wish to achieve Academic Excellence Award. So, conclusion, my parenting mindset, I don't have discipline through caning. And that actually is compensated by self-accountability, autonomy, and responsibility. I don't pamper them now, but what I do is I affirm their identity, that God has created them for a purpose. I inspire them through reading of the Bible and promise of their inheritance. And I gave them no presents because I gave them choices, experiences, and opportunities that will enhance them and grow to be faithful to God. And they can be a loving person, kind, grateful, respectful, resilient, compassionate, and prudent. And they can be grateful to others as well and remember their self-worth. Of course, the only thing will be obedience, and they would have the choice to be obedient. I would like to recommend a book that I have learned a lot of wisdom from this. It's called The Power of Parents' Blessing by Craig Hill. This is during the 13 years birthday, my daughter, I created a ceremony. I invited the father back to Singapore, and we did a nice dinner with a few good friends. And then we go through the book, and it guides us on how to bless our children when they reach their teens. Time to take action. And this is about to inspire them, inspire you to action. And I brought them to Nick Vujicic. It's a little bit of investment, but it was worth it. He said, growth is painful, change is painful, but nothing is as painful as being stuck somewhere you don't belong. So what's important is that you can be unstuck. Change your direction overnight. You can reach and dream big. With faith, you can. And you start small, you act fast. Thank you. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you very much, Agnes. Wow, that was very, very inspiring as well. Thank you. I think we have come to more or less the end of the session. And I would say that from my personal experience, being a parent is something that there's no formula that will work for everyone. And each child has their own speciality. And definitely we cannot go and use the same method with every child. But this is like more of like best practice sharing. So we have heard some from Vignesh, we have heard some from Agnes, and later part during a question and answer, maybe if anyone else wants to share a tip or two, please do that as well. And I think with that, we will be able to follow the best practice, share it, and we can maybe think of a way that actually works for our child as well. I've got a 16-year-old daughter, and trying my best to be a better parent every day. Every day is a new day, I would say, because as a child grows up, just a year ago, when she was 15, the way she spoke, the way she behaved is all different. And now, just 1 year later, 16 years old, she's so much different. In fact, most of you registered through the Google form. The whole form idea was hers, and she prepared the form and sent. In fact, while you guys are here right now, she's actually in another laptop monitoring all the chats, and she's the one who sent out the password through the Dream Big phone to everyone. So I always like her to get involved in whatever that I do, so she knows what I'm doing, what I stand for. And I think that that's very important because I need her to understand that this is who I am. And for her to understand best ways for her to get involved as well. If I just speak, it will be just be, as though I'm nagging. So I'd rather get her involved and expressing for herself as well. So before I start the questioning, and I would really love to hear you guys share as well, I would like to just remind you once again, because some of you have messaged me and asked me for the video, right? So I think, yeah, Agnes, we can take a group photo. So, but most of the screens are off. So I think that's a challenge. But I think most of you asked me for the video. So once again, let me just bring you here. Okay, go to my Facebook page. It's actually being shared live. So it's always there. You can, download it yourself from there, or you can even share it on your wall and so forth. Okay, mrdreambig.steve, just go there and then like the page and take the pictures. Please try your best to follow the page because we are having more sessions like this coming up real soon. In fact, our next session, we are planning to do another similar dreams night next month. And we are talking about COVID-19 success stories. COVID-19, many people are going through a difficult time, but I've personally seen some people who their business almost came to a complete end, but they started something else new in the current business. It's a different operating method, and they are doing very well. So if you know of anyone like that, please let me know. I already have one speaker. I need 2 more speakers to make it a success. So feel free to share with me. I will be sending you this Facebook address later through the Dream Big line as well. And maybe any feedback you guys have, also please do share with us. Another one more thing I want to share with you is Agnes was talking about PSLE. True enough, many of the kids out there who are now sitting for PSLE, N-level, O-levels, they must be thinking, how do I cope up with this? My nephew is sitting for his O-levels and my daughter is sitting for N-level. So they are having a lot of stress as well, I would guess. And so what my wife, she is a professional educator. So she even right now she can't be here because she's doing Zoom classes. So what we have done is we have actually come up with a webinar series for PSLE students, just talking about maths. This session is also free, right? So all our sessions are free. You can share it with those who are taking PSLE. It's going to be one topic covered, and we will also take some question and answers. So share it with them. I will share this as well to your message later, right? So having said that, now I think we can go for the question and answer. So by the way, guys, before we go there, I just had a word with Johanna. She sends her regards, and unfortunately, she's still not too well to join us, but she, sends her love to all and her apologies as well that she can't join. I've assured her that, she will be in all our prayers tonight and for speedy recovery for her son and for herself. Okay. So now questions. Any questions, anyone? Please use the hand sign there so that I can just alert and call you out. Or if not, maybe you can just unmute yourself. But if you hear someone else speaking at the same time, just quickly mute yourself and ask a question. Nope, no questions. So maybe we can even type in the chat. I'm also checking the chat. So while we're waiting for anyone to share questions, how about any one of you? Or I think we have got Christine.
Yes, I'm happy to ask a question. Thanks a lot for Vignesh and Agnes for sharing what they shared. It was really, really helpful. And I'm from a different culture. I'm European, and it was very insightful to hear that. A question for Agnes. I mean, I like a lot the way you raise your kids and learn them how to be accountable and so on. I would like to know, do they share that with their friends? And how do their friends feel about that? Is it very different from the education they receive? And do they feel happy to be educated this way?
Well, it's actually, I would say that not an easy question to, not an easy question to answer, but my daughter is here. Maybe she can answer that question. Okay, do you know what's the question?
Yeah.
Okay, what's your answer? What do you share with your friends?
I share with her.
Okay. Okay, anyway, from the past, what happened is that I would ask them questions about their friends, and then for me, I think I know that I don't raise my kids the way that other parents raise, and I'm not saying that I'm proud of it or whatever, but I know I have to make a deliberate way. And of course, in fact, I believe it's important to allow that, and also I actually give my daughter this example. For example, every Sunday she can invite a friend to have dinner with us, and she has invited a few friends, you know, to have a dinner date with us. And then sometimes a girl, sometimes boy, you know, and then we will get to know each other. So I believe that based on the feedback is that your mom is fun, you know, cool, different. Yeah, and I think I can't expect my daughter to tell her friends much about how they can change their parents. I only can hope and pray that all the parents will see their kids like precious God's gift, and that is how they should treat their kids. Thank you for your question.
Thank you, Agnes. I hope that answers your question, Christine. Okay, so anyone else? Any other question? Anyone? You can just unmute yourself and ask. So if there's no other questions and I don't see anything in the chat, I think I'll take this opportunity once again. Thank you for being here. It's okay if you can always ask me through the Dream Big line that you actually received the password. You can always message us there. Any questions, maybe you don't want to bring it in the Zoom session, I can actually forward the question to the speakers and get them to answer you. What we are doing at Dream Big is we are trying to look at a kind of a strong network where we stand by each other and we try to do something together. And that's why right now, because when I open Facebook nowadays, most of the time I see people grumbling about what's going wrong in their life, especially with the lockdown, circuit breaker, you know, kind of stuff. And that's why we thought that, you know, we are going to flood Facebook as much as possible with all positive news, happy news, and sharing and all that. So this year, I celebrated Mother's Day with my mom and my mother-in-law and my wife at home. Usually every year we celebrate, my two sisters, the whole family will be there. But this time around, since we can't meet, it was only us. By the way, my mother and my mother-in-law are staying with me, so we all was in the same house. So we told each other that, you know, since this year, my mom was a little bit, she was saying, no, I can't meet the whole family and so forth. That's why I told her, I said, don't worry. Actually, you know, it gives us a new, why don't we use this extra time that we have to meet more mothers? I'm very glad that we had more than 30 of our mothers here and fathers, and also in a Facebook Live, we were able to hear two amazing mothers, super moms, as I call them, share their experience and their story. And I think life is changing. Looks like a lot of virtual meetings are going to become a way of life soon. So let's take it very positively and share, and look forward to you guys joining our Facebook page and following us regularly. Come for our sessions. We will plan one real soon. Our next session is, like I said, tomorrow for kids, and the next one would be most probably for in June, where we are going to target success stories of COVID-19. Not more of the illness itself. I'm talking about those who actually survived, because there was one day when I was sleeping, halfway, I actually woke up and I realized that, what will I do if I lose my income today? It's a very scary thought. And I realized that many people are going through that. Not just 1 month, not 2 months, not 3 months. I have a cousin who is scheduled to get married end of this year. Both of them are flying and they are shaken up. I mean, they seem still very positive, but I am actually very afraid for them. How are they going to survive? So this is something that I thought, if we listen to people who have successfully overcome this, we would be able to, give ourselves the motivational boost. And that's the intention of the session. Another one more thing that we are also planning to do is, we did various outreach. So we want to get you guys to also share with us your ideas. Maybe you feel that something else we can do, just let us know. We are more than willing to take up the challenge. Because 2 years ago, someone asked me this, can we give a packet of rice to some needy families? And I said, okay. So we called ourselves Be the Change, and we actually did that. And many people donated. We collected, we were looking at first about maybe 10 families, but in the end, we covered 2 rental blocks, which is about 500 units. We collected about over $1,000. And we had on the day 100 people assembled under the block to carry the rice packet, go up to the house and give it to the family. And this is amazing, because I always believe this is not just about money. Reaching out is just not about giving money, but it's about your time as well. And I think that was the amazing experience I had. But of course, we can't be thinking of everything ourselves. So we need you guys to come and tell us, okay, what you want to ask. And from there, we can do more things. I think, Eliza, John, were you trying to ask a question? Did you? Oh, okay. I thought you wanted to ask a question. So I think if everything is okay, guys, any other questions? Any last questions you want to ask before we end the session? No, I don't see any thumbs up. Okay. Then thank you very much. You will receive a message soon from our Dream Big line. So any feedback, please let us know. Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye.